Hi, my name is Nikki Halliwell and I'm a technical SEO consultant. I'm here today with Semrush to talk about this website, which is upchieve.org. We can see that this is an online tutoring and college counselling website, and it's a good looking website. We see when we scroll through, it looks as we would expect, and everything is presented in a nice and easy to read way. One of the things that I would like to highlight first of all is the keyword targeting, because I definitely think there's some opportunities there. The first of which is this page title. You can see that when I hover over the tab here, we can see that the page title is just Upchieve, which is the brand name, which is great. That definitely needs to be in there. But it'd be also good to have some additional keywords in there. So just to show you again, I've searched this website in Google, just typed in the brand name, and the website came first, which is, of course, what we'd expect to see. Now, again, as I've just shown, there's no other information in this page title other than the brand name. So I would want to update that to include more relevant keywords around online tutoring and the services that we offer. I wouldn't want to go too niche. I would definitely want to keep this quite broad, because there's other landing pages on the website where we have the opportunity to be more niche and specific about what it is that Upchieve are offering. But as I say, that's definitely one of the first things I would suggest updating there. Going back to the homepage and speaking of keywords, I did notice this heading here. So of course, this is like the first thing that we see. It's very bold and relevant to what the website does offer, but it's actually not a H1 heading. And H1 and headings are one of the things that Google use to really understand what the topic is about. At the minute, we're currently using a H2, and there are multiple H2s around the page. And we can see this when we go into the source code, which is here. So I've typed in the search bar just so I can find this quickly and easily within the source code. I typed in free online tutoring, and we can see that this is where that heading is: free online tutoring and college counselling. And we can see there it is. It's definitely a H2. So we've got two areas that we can update straight away just to make it nice and clear to Google what it is, and to users, of course, that this website does and what it is they're offering to the target audience. Moving forwards, I had a look around the blog, which you can see is, again, a very nice looking, well-presented blog. Everything works as we would expect. We can click onto each article and read that. There's no issues there. Clicking on the first blog that comes up, again, yeah, looks all nice and neat. It's got very relevant information to their audience. What I would like to point out, though, is this URL structure. So we can see that the URL there is /blog, then we have the date, and then we have the slug after the / there. What I would like to do is get rid of this date from within the URL structure here. There's a few reasons for that. The first one is that it makes the URL quite long, and long URLs can affect the click-through rate. People are less inclined to click through on a URL such as this that may be longer if they were to see it on Google, and that's a quick way just to reduce the length there. The second reason for removing that would be just to keep the content fresh and evergreen. We all like new content, and of course we can see that this blog itself was posted in May 2021. We're now in August, so it's a couple of months old. It's definitely not too old, but it also suggests that the blog hasn't been updated in a good few months, so getting some more regularity within their posting would certainly help. It is useful to have the date on the page, though, and I would suggest perhaps having that as an area here next to the category, or even on the other side here next to the author name. It could be like just the publish date would be fine, and it just allows people just to see how old the content is without it adding to the URL itself. This website is built in Squarespace, I believe, so there's a few options within that and also within the theme that would allow you to add in the publish date here if that is what you decided to do. If you did update the URL structure, there's a few redirects that would be needed for the existing blog content, but then it should be, much more accessible going forwards. So let's move on into Semrush, and what we have here is the dashboard. So this is what you see once you've set up your project within there. And where we're going to be spending most of our time today is within this site audit section. We can see there that there's a site score of 74%, which is definitely decent, but there are a few opportunities for improvement. Clicking into that, we see that there are 67 errors, 1,028 warnings, and 443 notices. So, looking at these 67 errors, we can see that there are 5 groups of errors. The first being 35 pages that have duplicate meta descriptions. There are 13 broken internal links, 9 pages that have a 404 or 4XX status code, 6 duplicate title tags, and 4 pages with duplicate content. Okay, so that's good. So we can see there that these are all issues that are definitely fixable, which of course is, the most important thing. They're nothing major as well, which is certainly a positive. What we can say from these as well is that they will have probably only a moderate effect on visibility. Things like the duplicate meta descriptions, resolving those will have an impact on the click-through rate, definitely from search engines, encouraging people to click through by having more unique, more enticing descriptions there that target the audience. But yeah, there's nothing major there that's going to be having a real detrimental effect on anything. I can see that there are 239 pages that make up this website audit in Semrush. And if we look in Google site search, we can see here that Google has 183 results in their search results. So we can see straight away that there is a discrepancy between the two. And if we click into the crawled pages, we can start to see why. So these are all the pages that make up the audit themselves. And of course, you can click through in the various pages to see all 239 of them. We can see that there are some pages that are redirected. We can see there are some that are blocked. So yeah, this is only on the first page as well. There's at least 12 pages of this. So things such as redirects and blocked pages are definitely going to be the reason for that discrepancy. That's not a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of. It doesn't make sense for every page to be blocked. It doesn't make sense for every page to be accessible to Google. This is a search page, so that's completely fine. And redirects, they're somewhat expected as well. So what I'm going to do now is go back to this audit overview section, and what we can do is have a look at the different thematic reports that are available to us, the first of which is the Core Web Vitals report. So within this Core Web Vitals report, which is relatively new to Semrush and great to see this being included within the audit, is that there is room for improvement here. So we can see the analysed pages list here, and it looks as if the app subdomain is the area that is having problems with these Core Web Vitals. So we can see moderate to poor scores here, especially when it comes to total blocking time. This is much longer than we would like to see. So definitely something that we'd like to look into, see if there's any particularly long tasks that are causing that blocking time. The main domain itself is looking good. We can see that the scores are green. There's no major concerns there within the main domain. We have much less blocking time, and also the largest contentful paint is looking a lot healthier as well. There's this one landing page for the vulnerability disclosure program that does have a lot longer total blocking time. So that's longer than even what we were seeing on the app subdomain. So there's something that's going on there that would suggest looking at. If we open that page, we'll see if there's anything in particular. It is taking quite a while to load. We can see that already. So far, it just looks to be content related. Okay, so there is this functionality here to do with the submitting the vulnerability. So that could be to do with how this functionality is built. I can't scroll further down the page either. It's quite, yeah, there we go, as it waits for it to load. Yeah, so it's this that's causing the issues with the way that this vulnerability form, the vulnerability report works. Definitely dig deeper into that within this report here. We can see that it's poor. Definitely see how we can break up the tasks and make sure that that report is loaded in the most efficient way. Cumulative layout shift is looking good across the site. We can see that there's very little layout shift across the website as a whole, which is definitely positive to be taken from this. Looking at other areas, what have we got? If we go back here, actually, we can go back to the overview. And I think it'd be quite useful actually to look at this internal linking section. So page qual depth is interesting because we can see here that there's 57 pages that are more than 4 clicks away from the homepage. So there's definitely some opportunities there just to increase the ease of finding those. Some of them are user stories, which would be quite useful content. Some blog content as well, which is more than 4 clicks away. So yeah, just make sure it's not difficult for people to find your most important content. I'd go through that and see if there was any landing pages for any reason that are being affected by this, but from what we can see just from this first page, it looks to be mainly blog content and user stories there. Going back one to this main internal linking page. So this is interesting. So there's 13 issues with broken internal links. So these are links that are resulting in 404s. More than likely, let's see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so these are links from within the domain, linking to other pages on the domain that are now broken. So yeah, we have links here that go into the blog category of college. There's quite a few here, all going to that. And another one here that was likely an image or another resource. So these have all been removed and haven't been updated, which is how we're ending up on this 404. So what I'd suggest is finding the links. We can see where they're located. So going to these pages and updating the link away from these broken ones. So it may be that there's now another more relevant blog category that we can link that to, or we can just remove the link in that location altogether, and that will resolve these broken internal links. I think there were some others as well. Yeah, so there was a warning with broken external links. There's 8 issues. So these are links from external websites. Links to external websites. Yeah, that are now broken. So there's ones here, some research studies. Some have a 429 error, which is too many requests. So they may actually be working now. It's more than likely a temporary error, but there are some that we can see here that are 404ing. So again, I would go to these blog posts and just update them to landing pages that are working. It could be there's other pages on this domain again, or it could be another domain altogether that just provides those statistics that you're looking after. Those would be the main ones that I would look at within this. But then what I also would like to highlight is the other aspects that we have available to us within Semrush. So we can use the organic domain overview. So we can just type in the domain itself here, and we can see how the website is doing in search results. Now, this is a US-based website, so I would want to look at the US results first and foremost. If we scroll down, we're able to see how many keywords the website ranks for, which in this case is 1,522, which is definitely a good amount of keywords. If we click View Details, we can see exactly what those keywords are. Once that loads up, we'll be able to see them. Okay, here we go. So yeah, we see the 1,522 keywords here. And what we can do within Semrush as well is we can filter them to display the information that we would want if we want to see something more specific, as well as being able to filter that information. As well as being able to export that information, you have that available just in the corner here. So what I like to do is just use this drop down here so we can see what keywords are in the top 10. And that will load up and just show us the keywords that are in positions 1 to 10. We can change the order if we'd like as well, so we can see from the bottom up or the top up or the top down, however we would like. So there's 178 keywords that we can see here that are in positions 1 to 10, which is definitely good to see. We want to change the order so we're seeing those that are in position 1. So yeah, that's definitely a nice relevant keyword that we'd want to see there. So live online tutoring, free tutoring session. These are all highly targeted keywords as well. So there's definitely some good intent behind these. Of course, we have the brand name as well, which we already know is ranking number 1. And we saw earlier that it does have relevant site links. Site links are these areas here that are below the domain. So this is what's known as site links. And Semrush is telling us there that there are site links. The good way to find some opportunities is to use this drop down again and see what keywords are in positions 11 to 20. So when we click that, when that loads, it shows keywords in those positions. And these are often keywords that can have some quick wins. Often there's some small changes and optimizations that we can make to these landing pages to facilitate a boost in their visibility. And we can see what landing page is ranking for that in this column at the end here. So in this case, we can see that the math tutor chat online, the landing page is /students, and we can open that up in another tab if we'd like. And this is the /students page. So this is the one that's ranking for that math tutoring. So we'd look to see, are there any missed opportunities? Is math tutoring actually mentioned on this page? What was the exact keyword? Math tutor chat online. So let's have a look. We can do a quick search. Math tutor. So we can see math tutor is only actually mentioned once on this page. So it does suggest that there's some optimizations that we can make. There isn't an exact match for that keyword that we're ranking for. Perhaps that's an opportunity to explore, or perhaps having some other variations on that would make more sense given the content here. But that's just one example of a quick optimization that you might be able to make to see some of those performance improvements. Another one is to just click down into positions 21 and 50, see which ones are there. So these are from pages like 3 onwards if on Google search results. Again, there could be some more quick wins and long tail keyword opportunities within these. So best online tutoring for college students. Again, we know that that's a relevant keyword based on what we do. And again, the landing page for that one does look to be that same students page. So explore that. Does it actually make sense for us to change that students page to include this sort of content? Or is there another page that would make more sense to do that? Just have a click around, see if it would actually make sense. If it doesn't, move on. There'll be other opportunities and other more relevant content. Perhaps that would make more sense for that to be in some sort of blog article. Definitely something like this: how to start a free tutoring service. What are the 3 steps of transcription and translation? These are all long tail keywords. If those are ones that you want to target, yeah, perhaps they do need to be a blog rather than another form of optimization. Moving forward, going back to the project that we had earlier, what I've done is I've gone into the position tracking section. So here we can see specific keywords that have been set up within the project that we want to keep track of. I can see there's 150 keywords that have been added here. So there are potential to add some more, especially given that we've just seen there's over 1,500 keywords that this website does rank for. And there's various different aspects that we can see about these 150 keywords. We can see the top performing, those that have had a positive impact, so those that have improved in visibility recently, and those that have had a drop in visibility recently. What we can do is move into this overview section and we can see some specifics about these keywords and their positions. Okay, so in terms of visibility, there has been some drop in recent months. In the last 7 days, we're definitely starting to see an improvement, but we do have a little bit of a way to go to get back up to the previous levels that we were at, even at the start of August, but also going back to the end of July. So these are the keywords here that have been added into the project. We can see how they've changed as well over the course of the last 7 days. Free tutoring session has improved by 2 places, and this little crown here indicates that it's a featured snippet, as it says there, but this is also the highest position that keyword has obtained. I mean, it's number 1, you can't get much higher than that, but that's definitely where I would like to be. What is geometry and math is certainly a relevant keyword to what they do. Going back to the top, we can see that there's no competitors that have been added here, so that would certainly be something that I would recommend. Adding in your competitors allows you to monitor your performance against them and just see what they're doing better, what you can improve on, and just make sure you're aware of what your competitors are doing on their website and how you might be able to capitalize on that as well. What we can do also is look at this competitor discovery section. So these are competitors that Semrush has identified and thinks would be good to compare against. It's actually found 4,845 of them here, but just looking at this first page, we have tutor.com, princetonreview.com, and various others. If we wanted to, we can click set as a competitor and that will add them to the project, and they will be there each time and we would compare against them. Or we can enter any competitors that we would like to add ourselves. But yeah, so we can see how we're doing. Again, this is the last 7 days performance. Compared to tutor.com, we've seen similar levels of growth, changes in traffic. We're doing quite well compared to everyone else, but you can certainly see the difference there, and you can click into each one just to really get the most use out of this section. The last thing that I wanted to mention today is this backlink audit section. So this is another aspect that we can get to from within the project dashboard. And we can see here the number of referring domains and the number of backlinks to this Upchieve website as well. What I'd want to look at is this number here of broken backlinks. We can see that there's 22 broken backlinks at the moment. Clicking through into them, we can see that this is the list here of these 22 broken backlinks. What's interesting is that the target, so the broken link, was the homepage. We know that the homepage is working now. We can see that here. We know it's working, but it suggests that it was returning a 404 error at one point, or at least when this audit was ran, which was on the 4th of August. So that's now resolved. We have the app subdomain as well, which was also down, same as this volunteer page. We can click onto it just to make sure for peace of mind as well, but we can see there as well that that volunteer page is actually working and it's no longer returning that 503 error that was originally reported. Here it is. So usually I would suggest that there's several ways that you could go about reclaiming these broken links, but in this case, most, if not all of them, look to already have been resolved. So if we were to rerun this campaign at the top, we would be able to see more relevant results within this section. So that's it. Hopefully there's some useful information for you there, certainly making those quick changes that we talked about to the page titles and the headings there. Make sure you do look at this audit and see what changes can be made to this internal linking to resolve those. And also just optimizing the issues that we saw within that Core Web Vitals section, just making sure that there are no more loading issues within your pages there and that all of your content is easily accessible. But that's it from me. My name is Nikki Halliwell, and if you have any questions or would like to get in touch at any time, you'll find me at nikkihalliwell.com. Thanks.